Hello there everyone. Welcome to this course Responsive Web Layout with CSS Grid. Let's begin the session with question what is responsive web layout and what is CSS Grid. Responsive web layout is an approach to web design that makes web pages render well on variety of devices, windows or screen sizes. And what is CSS Grid? CSS Grid is system for structuring layout using CSS. Now you might say CSS is already capable of handling layout, right? In fact, there are multiple ways to structure a layout such as HTML tables, flexbox model. HTML table allow us to align item in terms of rows and column, but there are many disadvantages to it. Example, if you want to create some basic structure, you need to add lots of junk rows and column just to manage item position. And also, as it is fixed with layout, it does not render well on different sizes of devices. Flexbox is equally powerful compared to grid layout, but you can place items along X or Y axis. So, CSS Grid is arguably the most powerful system for structuring layout using CSS, which allow you to place item considering row and column number. So remember the thumb rule. If you want to place item on the page thinking row or column, use flexbox model. If you want to place item using row and column, then use CSS grid layout. CSS grid layout is extremely powerful and it supports lots of properties which can be overwhelming for beginner. In this session, we'll get started with easier and frequently used one. Let's get started with basic HTML. I haven't applied any grid related properties yet. If you look into the structure, it contains a parent div called as grid container, and this parent div has 6 child elements which has grid item class. Now if we look into these classes, grid container just holds the border, so we can monitor width or height changes of grid container. And grid item is just a class for child element which holds some basic properties like font weight, line height, opacity, etc. You can find this basic structure of layout on CodePen. The URL is present in the description. In order to create grid, you just need to apply CSS property called display and use grid as a value. So select here grid container and apply property display. Value is grid. Now you don't see any difference visually. If you hover over the grid container class, you can see all child elements will lay themselves out one into each grid cell. The default flow is one column and arrange items by row. You can also use display inline grid in order to create grid container. The only difference between them is by default grid takes width of viewport and inline grid has width equal to max width of the child element. So for example, if I increase width of this atom 4, let's say 500 pixel, then width of overall container got increased. Let's use display grid for this session. Let me restore width of this cell. Now, as we observed, the default flow is one column and arrange all the atoms adding a new row. You can also ask grid to auto place this atom by adding new column instead of row. We can handle that by using grid property called as grid auto flow. Grid auto flow and value is column. Now, as you can see, all child elements kept in one row by adding new column. The area where rows or columns get created called as implicit grid. And if you look at these rows or columns, they are auto-sized. This means that they will contain the content added to them without causing overflow. You can change its size using grid auto columns or grid auto rows. So for example, if I use here grid auto columns and give some value, let's say 300 pixel. Now you can see the column width got increased, and grid auto rows, let's say 400 pixel. So you can observe the change, and these properties will be applicable to auto flow row as well. So now you can see the column width is 300 pixel and row height is 400 pixel. You can also specify the multiple values. For example, now you can see first row is 400 pixel, second row is 200, again third row is 400 and second row is 200. So this cycle will keep repeating itself. Till now, CSS grid used to look into child elements and decide how many rows or column were required. But you can define your own row count or column count and column size as well. For that purpose, you can use grid template columns and grid template rows property. Let's say I want to create a grid having three columns and two rows. So for that purpose, I will define property here grid template columns. Let's say 200 pixel, 200 pixel and 200 pixel and two rows. Let's say 200 pixel and another one is 200 pixel. Now if I hover over the container, you can see it created three columns and two rows. The smallest unit of this grid is called as cell. For example, you can see cell 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. What if the number of cells we have defined is less than number of child elements? Let's reduce one column. Now, as you can see, grid took all child elements and start putting into explicit cells we have defined. And as these explicit cells got over, he created new implicit row and keep adding rest of the child elements. And again, size of this implicit row is controlled by grid auto column and auto rows if defined. If you haven't defined, then it will create with default size. That means it will just take care that content of this grid cell are not getting overflow. The area of grid which you have explicitly defined is called as explicit grid, and part of the grid which is created by grid just to incorporate additional atoms is called as implicit grid. So in given example, cell 1, 2, 3, 4 are part of explicit grid and cell 5 and 6 are part of implicit grid. You can also define gap between columns using grid column gap. Let's say 10 pixel. You can also define gap in rows using similar property grid row gap 10 pixels, or you can also use shorthand called as gap. If you hover over the container, you can see clearly gap between the cells. As you might have observed, we have specified all sizes in pixel. For example, auto columns or auto rows or template columns or template rows, all sizes we have specified in pixels. When it comes to sizing, grid is flexible a lot. Let's see sizing unit in detail. All these units are applicable for grid auto rows and columns, grid template rows and column, except repeat. Repeat is only applicable for grid template columns and grid template rows. We already observed absolute length unit, that is pixels. Let's see how other unit works. In relative length unit, size of the cell is adjusted relative to font size. So for example, instead of using pixel over here, I will use em as unit. Here you go. You can also use viewport percentage as cell unit. For example, let's say I want to divide all these track equally on the viewport. Then I can use, let's say, 33 VW, 33 VW and 33 VW. So now you can see this all cells got almost equally divided on the viewport. You can use percentage also, let's say 33% again. Now as you can see, all columns having equal width, which is 33%. You can also use calculus function. For example, let's see 33% minus 10 pixel. So this third column is 10 pixels smaller than first two columns. So if I increase this, you can see column is getting reduced. But problem with using percentage to divide columns equally on the screen is, let's say if you have to add new column, then you have to adjust all these calculations again. So instead of using percentage to place column equally on the screen, use FR or flex unit. So as you can see, all columns are having equal width. Even though if I resize the screen size, you can see all columns again gets resized automatically perfectly to the same width. Another unit which is similar to FR is auto. The default value of grid template columns is auto. When we specify column width as auto, then grid takes consideration what is content of that cell, what's its size, how much space is available, and it will span column accordingly. So for example, as you can see, even though we have defined auto size for all three columns, column number 1 and 3 are of same size because their content size is same. But the second column is larger compared to first and third because content size of the second column is larger than them. Another unit supported by columns is max content. So as name suggests, it will create column width so that the content of cell will not get overflowed. And this is fixed size column. So if I change the size of viewport, it will not impact size of column. The another similar properties will be minimum content. So again, you might have guessed it right. The size of the column get adjusted to minimum width of its content. So as we are using text inside div, this will be the smallest width of the div, because if we start reducing size after this point, the word will start splitting into letters. Another property which we can use is fit content. So in order to demonstrate fit content, let's use first column as mean content and another column is max content. So fit content allows us to adjust column width between its mean and max content. So for example, let's give fit content value as 20 em. So now what, when you use fit content, what grid does is it will take this input value, analyze what will be mean content value of this cell and what will be the max content value, and produce the final output. So for example, as you can see, if I start reducing this value, you can see the second column is getting adjusted. But even though if I reduce further, it is not getting resized because this value is adjusted between mean content and max content. So again, if I start increasing value, now after 25 em, even though if I increase value, the content or column width is not getting increased. But now if I resize the viewport, it will get adjusted again. Now another applicable unit is mean max. As name suggests, you can specify minimum width of the column and maximum width of the column. Let's say 600 pixel. So now if I increase the viewport size, the content is or column width is getting increased till 600 pixel, and if I try to reduce the column size, it is getting reduced till 100 pixel. Another property which you can use is repeat. Till now, we have specified sizing units equal to number of columns. So in this example, we wanted to create 3 columns. So we have specified 3 sizing units over here. But there is a shorthand property to it. So you can use shorthand property called as repeat. Number of time you want to repeat the value and the value which you want to repeat. So as you can see, it automatically created 3 columns. You can give any value over here till now which we have analyzed. For example, let's say 300 pixel. So now you can see 3 columns got created with 300 pixel unit. Till now, we have just defined grid rows and columns and delegated item placement to auto placement algorithm of grid. But now let's assume we want to put layout something like this. If you have been working with one of the many frameworks or grid system, you may be aware that laying out your site content on 12 or 16 column flexible grid is standard. For example, Twitter Bootstrap grid. We can create this type of system using CSS grid layout. If we want to explicitly put item in this layout, then we have to understand few concepts. Let's get started by adding 12 column grid system. Grid cell is smallest unit of a grid. Conceptually, it is like a table cell. The gap between grid cell is called as gutters or alleys and can be created using column gap and row gap properties. An atom can span one or more cells, both by rows or by column, and this creates grid area. Grid area must be rectangular. It isn't possible to create an L-shaped grid area, for example. It should be noted that when we are defining grid columns or rows using grid template columns or rows, we define grid tracks, not the grid line. Grid then gives us numbered line to use when positioning atoms. And these lines begin from index 1, unlike array which starts with 0. Let's get started with basic HTML. I haven't applied any grid property yet. These are just basic CSS classes. You can find CodePen link for it in the description. As you can see here, all units are present: header, navbar, main article area, side navbar, advertising and footer. So let's select the class and remove this border element, height 100%. Assign property display grid. Define columns using grid template columns. And put some gap about 20 pixel. Now if you hover over this, you can see the entire screen got divided into 12 equally sized columns. Now we want to put a header in row 1 starting from line 1 to 13. So you can define that property using grid column start 1, grid column end as 13, grid row start as 1, and grid row end as 2. Again moving to main side now. You can again define it using the same properties. Grid column start 1, grid column end 4, grid row start 2, and grid row end 4. Now instead of using all these properties, let me tell you shorthand for it. So we can define grid column start and grid column end in the single line. So let me uncheck this, and the parameter will be grid column. First parameter is the column end line forward slash and column start line. Similarly, instead of using two properties like grid row start and grid row end, we can define one single property called as grid row. And again, first property will be the line where you want to end the row, and second property will be line where you want to start the row. Moving ahead for content, we'll be using shorthand property grid column. So again, first parameter will be the line where we want to end the content, and second parameter will be where we want to start the content. Similarly, grid row, first will be where we want to end the content, and second parameter will be the line where we want to start the content. There is again shorthand property for spanning atom over multiple grid cell. Now what we did, we just placed our atom on the start line, and we counted how many lines we want to expand the grid item, and we provided that count over here or that line number here. So in this case, the starting line will be 4 and ending line will be 11. There is another shorthand property using which we can directly span the atom. So property will be same grid column, and instead of defining first ending line, we will be defining starting point, and after that how many columns we want to span that atom, 7. So if I uncheck this, you can see the result is same. That means it started on the fourth line and we span next 7 cells. Now let's move to side. So again, we'll be using grid column. First parameter will be on which line you want to end this column and on which line you want to start. Again, for grid row, first parameter will be on which line you want to end the grid item, and second parameter will be on which line you want to start. For add also the same thing. We'll be using grid column. First parameter will be at which line you want to end this item, and second parameter will be on which line you want to start. Grid row. Now the last one is footer. Again, you can define again you can use span property also over here, like grid column. So remember, for when you are using span, the inputs are reversed. So first parameter will be start of the column, and second will be how much cells you want to span it. Again, you can test this layout using different screen sizes. You can see all the layout are in intact. I mean, the header or nav bar or main content area, these are scaling as per device sizes. You can also select predefined layout from here, like iPhone or iPad Pro. You can see every content got displayed on the screen. That's all for this tutorial. In next session we will see how we can align this grid item using alignment and justify properties. Stay tuned to get notification. Thank you.